The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
All right. So welcome to another Crimes After Dark. And I got to tell you, the panel is freaking jacked up today. They're all excited. Everybody's like hyper. Everybody wants to get at it, to pitter patter. Let's get at her. Everybody's excited. So we'll have to do our best to be on our best behavior and not stomp all over each other, because I think all of us are excited about various things. We got lots of stuff going on. By the way, I need a wave from backstage. You guys can hear me? Perfect. Okay. Also, Robin, I'm going to need to tweak our sizzle reel. I forgot that I've lost my disclaimer that reminds people that this is opinion. This is an opinion channel. Everything we say here should be taken with a grain of salt. We're giving you our thoughts and our opinions. I had a little legal disclaimer to try to keep myself out of trouble in case anybody ever decides, oh my God, I'm going to sue your ass for... Most of the time you're completely wrong about what you can sue for, but hey, actually you're in America, you can sue anybody for anything, but it won't hold up because what we're doing is just opinion and we say so all the time. But I like my show to have the disclaimer that says, hey, this is all opinion and not fact. So we'll put that back on the sizzle reel so that it's there, because when we started using the new sizzle reel, I forgot that it wasn't there. I will bring our panelists up soon. We do have Robin backstage. We have 1-1 backstage. We have Dago backstage. Joe from State of the Deep, I believe, is going to be joining us. We'll have a pretty full panel tonight. We're jacked up and excited. Today we had a blessing. We had Dago and 1-1 among others, but Dago and 1-1 were in the live breakdown members only of police dispatch on the day that Brent Copaka was shot and killed, and having, somebody, several people in the chat that had experience with dispatch and understanding what codes are being said and what it means, what initials mean, breaking down what the traffic meant was really cool. You missed out if you didn't get that. However, we'll talk about it tonight. I also did repost our entire members only live, which was 3 hours long, talking about an hour and 13-minute video that we only got 40 minutes through, if that makes any sense. We talked a lot. We talked a lot. So we're going to talk about that again tonight, give you the highlights, but if you want to listen to it its entirety, we'll do that. So let's bring up our panelists in no short order, in the order that I've got them queued up behind stage. So Robin, you're on first. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm pretty
Exciting day.
excited. I need more hours in the day. I'll tell you that much. I'm so far behind on so many things. And somebody did say in the chat, dude, don't take this the wrong way, but you produce a frick ton of material. I'm like, I do. I put out a lot of stuff, but
that's okay. It's all good.
And I'm behind. I know, but I'm behind. So without giving away what the topics we're going to talk about, generally speaking, how was your day? And do you have anything on your mind you want to talk about? Just, don't get too far into it because we don't have the whole panel up here, but.
No. But no, it was a good day. I had a, good day at work or whatever, but no, I'm pretty revved up to talk about what everybody else is going to talk about. So I can't think of anything else except make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel because there's kinds of great stuff coming. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure your notifications are turned to all so that you don't miss anything that gets put out. And just great that everyone in the den is here tonight. I know we're going to have some of the blue crew with us. We're over on Dago's side, and of course all of his folks. Howdy to you. And we have had some people on other platforms watching us off and on, Lee. I keep forgetting to mention that to you, but so if you're watching us on whatever platform, welcome.
Yeah, and about that, I'll bring one and Dago up here very shortly. But about that, I do want to say I don't mean any disrespect to any other channels that do show up. If I don't recognize you or shout you out, I'm pretty bad with my chat. It's one of the things that I don't do as well as other people is engage my chat as much. And by the way, I did an overshot the other night and put so many polls out. People were like, the polls were awesome, but maybe not 300 polls in the same night. So apparently I don't know how to moderate myself. We should have a poll or two every night to kind of keep it spicy, but maybe not like one poll after the other, although some people loved it. But anyways, about that, other channels that are in here, please let us know if you have another channel and maybe get your attention so we can say hi to you and appreciate you coming here. A lot of our people also watch other channels to kind of see how you guys are doing, and so I consider us all part of the same community. And especially we throw the link out on a regular basis to join us on stage. So if you're another YouTuber, and if you're a YouTuber that doesn't take over other people's show, come on up and just have a talk with us. I know it's hard when you talk for a living to not take over someone else's show because you talk for a living, but we do welcome other shows to come on, like Dago, and we've had other shows on here many times.
Yeah,
many other people. So we enjoy it, love it, and encourage it. So let's bring one up on stage. What's going on, sir?
Wow, what a day.
I was gonna say you were so quiet.
I gotta say, cockswagger fuckery. That's what
I saw that.
And the douchebaggery.
I'm not gonna give away what we're gonna talk about, but
we have
what a big day.
Things.
Lots of stuff. Lots of new layers of the onion peeling away. We will get into it.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know why most of tonight's probably going to be dominated by Idaho 4. I do cover on my channel other cases. Like, for example, this morning's drop was on the Delphi case. I had a drop about going back and watching some of that interview right up to the point, and I thought it was kind of a funny take myself. And my gist of my video today was evidence doesn't lie, because that's what the detective told Richard Allen over and over again. I'm sorry, Rick, evidence doesn't lie. You were there. You killed those girls. Evidence doesn't lie. I got a piece of paper that says so. And I was just like, fuck off. Like, I was so mad at that guy. Anyways, I had a good video about that, but Idaho 4 is going to dominate our discussion. So hopefully you did get a chance to see that. Every day of the week, I try to cover one of my channels with the long form video, but in the lives, like now, we talk, it's gloves off and everything goes. So if we can work in a little Delphi, it'd be great, because it was the day for Delphi, but we have so much to talk about Idaho 4.
Yes.
But, so just pull in.
Is it good to be alive in the den on a Wednesday night?
Hell yeah.
Is it good to be alive? Here we go, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, take a breath. Although today, I don't know. Because once you hear what comes next, there's no unhearing it. Welcome to Devil's Advocates. This is not a show for comfort. This is not a show for easy answers. And this is definitely not a show for people who need their beliefs protected. This is where certainty breaks, where narratives bend, and where truth, if it exists at all, is buried beneath layers of assumption, omission, and convenience. Here, we don't ask what you were told, we ask what you were never supposed to question. We don't start with conclusions, we start with doubt. Because every case, no matter how solved, has cracks. Every timeline has missing pieces. Every official story depends on one dangerous thing: your silence. On this show, we don't give silence a voice. We slow the tape down. We rewind what everyone else fast forwards past. We sit with the uncomfortable details, the ones glossed over, dismissed, or explained away. Because when something doesn't make sense, we don't ignore it. We dig. We question witnesses who were never questioned hard enough. We challenge investigators who were never challenged at all. We examine motives, opportunities, and coincidences until coincidences stop being a coincidence. And when the narrative starts to wobble, we don't look away. We understand something most people don't want to admit. Truth is rarely clean. Justice is rarely perfect. And certainty is often manufactured. So if you came here looking for heroes, you won't find them. If you came here for villains neatly labeled and wrapped in a bow, you'll be disappointed. Because reality doesn't care about clean story arcs. Here, no theory is untouchable. No authority is immune. No verdict is beyond scrutiny. We believe every story has at least two sides, and the side you never hear is usually the one that matters most. This is where emotion collides with logic, where belief is forced to defend itself, where the questions get sharper and the answers get darker. And make no mistake, playing devil's advocate doesn't mean defending evil. It means refusing to accept comfort over truth. It means asking, what if we're wrong? What if something doesn't add up? What if the story everyone agrees on is the one that deserves the most suspicion? The show isn't about proving innocence. It isn't about declaring guilt. It's about exposing uncertainty, because uncertainty is dangerous. It threatens narratives, it unsettles conclusions, and it forces people to think. So if you're still listening, understand this. Once you start questioning, there's no going back. You'll hear details you can't forget. You'll notice gaps you can't unsee, and you'll realize how often truth is shaped by repetition, not evidence. Turn the lights down, turn the volume up, and leave your assumptions at the door, because inside Devil's Advocates, nothing is sacred, nothing is settled, and nothing is as simple as it seems. Welcome to the other side of the story. And with that, live from New York, it's Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night, and Dago too. We're you kind of sat through our monologue, but we got you here as well. Dago, by the way, having you two guys on was awesome today. Having both of you guys in the chat, Dago on camera. One might have had some other shit going on. He's kind of busy, so he still managed to somehow give us some thoughts from and explain to us what JRD was and things like that. So it was very cool. What a great experience that was. How are you doing today, Dago? It sounds like people were just watching you and had them belly rolling, and they were talking about their guts still hurt. Did you have everybody laughing on your show?
Oh yeah. Well, first and foremost,
Oh boy.
forget about it. We know that. Okay? It's a fugazi. Yeah, I covered a couple new interviews and this and that, and then everybody's been coming at me asking me what I think about. I call her Skeletor, but Ashley Banfield's interview about or her report about Melissa Koberger's article. So I did somewhat of a reaction video. I can't handle her at all. I do not process her well, so that's probably why. If they were laughing, I have a tendency. You know me, when something is eating at me, okay, I have a tendency to kind of just flow from the mouth with things that I normally wouldn't say. And I did it just like the damn clip-on fog light thing. I just say what I feel at that point. That's when I go Sicilian, as I call it. So it is.
Oh boy.
That's about
Never get into a battle of wits with a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Yeah, so I mean that's what it was. But yeah, and I ended it literally like 14 minutes before we started here. So I just
gotcha. We'll bring Joe up in just a second, but it's funny that you mention it because I also have a problem with some people's stuff, and watching that Delphi interview with the detective that's telling Richard Allen that he's guilty, and I hate the good cop routine with the whole, hey, look, there's some guys out there, some prosecutors that want to hang you, but I'm your friend. I'm just here to help. I'm like, fuck off. Like, I was so mad every time he would tell me, hey, I'm on your side. These guys want you, but you're not on my side, you piece of crap. Like,
yeah, he's a joke. That dude, that guy Jerry Holman is a piece of work anyway, but specifically in there, and he showed his true colors. He showed his true colors after they brought Kathy in. And he come out right out of the gate being the asshole that he is. So
shouting and calling them names, and it's
that's the real Jerry Holman right there.
And it's sad because go ahead.
I was just gonna say quick because I know we're gonna get in. You're gonna bring JJ up.
Joe,
we're gonna get into all this stuff. I gotta say, I'm not upset at Dago. I appreciate that we got to watch all these interviews and all this stuff, to try to get info. If you ever want to hear, I guess the term to its truest form, someone has a doorknob for a brain, or empty pineapple, the light bulb isn't on. Go watch the interview with Ava Wood. Who was that? Vicky, whatever. What was her name? Vicky something that did the interview. Ava Wood, absolutely, completely useless.
Completely,
absolutely useless. If you want to see someone trying to put themselves as a victim and in inserting themselves into something, watch that interview. Unbelievable.
Vicky Ward was she was the investigative reporter that did all the work for the James Patterson book.
Yeah.
She interviewed Ava Wood. And I'm telling you guys, we'll never get that hour back. Never. It was so. Oh my God. I mean, I could almost feel 1-1 in the chat. I was watching his comments. I could almost feel him squeezing his own throat like this.
All right. Well, let's not make JJ sit behind stage too much longer. What's up tonight, buddy?
What's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm a little late.
No
I didn't
problem.
think I was going to make it at all tonight, but my back injury got me today, and I had to leave work early. So
it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Sorry to hear about your back, but good for us that we got to share another night with you. So that's very cool. But
it's good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Den, DA, Robin,
lots of stuff today.
Hi there.
Lots of stuff today,
good
JJ.
to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah. All right. So we got the full panel on screen. I know. So there's topics to talk about, and I don't know that either one of them is going to be less that we're going to talk about. So where do we even start? Like, where do we start tonight?
Can I throw something out there, DA?
Yeah.
We can save this for later, or whatever you guys want. Just a suggestion. I'm presuming you all know about the ICE shooting that happened in Minnesota.
No, I do not. About the ICE shooting. What happened? ICE shooting. Somebody shot somebody with an ice bullet.
No, the ICE. The
immigration. ICE police.
Yes,
immigration.
A citizen was shot and killed by an ICE agent, and it's blowing up the internet. And I've already seen like 5 different videos from different angles about what happened. And the reason I brought it up is I realize it's going to be very controversial because it's very politically heated, and there's more context that needs to be added to the situation. but you guys haven't seen it, so it's
Nah.
probably not, you know, appropriate to talk about it.
Oh wow, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Until
Now.
anybody, it's when I tell you the internet's blowing up, I mean it's
is.
blowing up.
Yes.
You can, if you go online, you can't avoid the story, and I have some strong opinions about it, and I'm sure everybody will. So
it's interesting that you bring it up, and so I don't want anything to be off limits by any means. What I'm concerned about is when we get into anything that starts to become political. So is that story going to become political because of the immigration issue? Like, there's a reason why we've kind of backed away from the Charlie Kirk, because we couldn't get away from religion versus not religion, and conservative versus Democrats, and you know, Republicans versus Democrats, and so I was like, man, I just don't want to get political on the show. But does it have other things, or is it going to get
well, you got a retired fireman and you have a law enforcement veteran on our panel.
Yeah,
which,
true.
Which I think, like, I don't look at this shit as political. Now, I can see the context of how the politicization of everything affects the situation. But anybody who knows me and has had discussions with me knows I can look at things because I don't give a fuck about politics. You know, I think it's all bullshit personally.
Yeah, I agree.
But I only brought it up because I literally an hour ago saw like 3 different versions of what happened. And it's like right on the top of my head. But I fully understand. If I wouldn't have even brought it up if it didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Well, here's a video we can play real quick if we want to just kind of talk about it for a brief minute. So this is quote unquote from CNN headline news right off the front page. See the moment that the woman got shot. It's a minute long. I know from record that we don't need to give too much disclaimer because CNN won't show anything graphic. So there's nothing going to be some graphic. I've never seen it before. Let's play it if you don't mind.
Before you play it, no, you don't. I don't believe the clip they're going to show is definitely not going to be anything, but it's pretty crazy. However, as you can imagine, the other political sort of realm is showing a different angle of the shooting, and I've seen like at least 3 different angles so far. So just keep that in mind.
All right, I'll play it with the audio, and then we'll briefly talk about it. Again, this is first time seeing it for me, maybe other people as well. So, and again, I don't know how long I want to talk about something. I don't usually break stuff live without having some thoughts about it before I get there, but I'm going to do it live and put it on here and see what happens here. All right,
Minnesota, right?
Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Okay, here. So this might be the other angle.
So they're just showing it on a loop, it looks like.
Yeah.
There's another angle that they're not showing, by the way, a close-up.
Sure.
Now, since I've kind of followed it in the last few hours, I think this is important. We should be able to look at things and take politics out of it and understand the context of a situation. Like, how is the person in that SUV feeling? Are they scared? How is the police officer feeling? Is he scared? You know, I try to look at all those things. So I just put
I can tell you,
people.
And like I said, I usually don't like commenting on things right away, but I can almost see the narrative right away, what's going to be said, which is that she tried to run an officer over, so therefore she threatened his life, and that gave him permission to fire upon her because he was kind of in front of the vehicle when she stepped on the gas, and therefore she tried to run him over, and that's going to be the self-defense kind of thing on that. But
see, that's not what I got from watching
Not at
that
all.
video.
What did you?
So
No.
my first reaction is my perspective. So first off, I don't know. I need a little more context. I don't know what the job is.
Right.
I need, and that's a huge thing. Why were they there? You know, is this were they? You know, how did they get to this spot? Was this some kind of robbery? What is this job? What is going on?
Yeah.
I need the context, but without having the context and just seeing that, applying like kind of what I have to go by here and what we do here, and you know that's all I can really do is give my perspective from rules and regulations, what we have here. That is a bad shooting. To me, it looked like the person was just trying to drive away. It did. I'd have to see a few more angles. It didn't look like the person was actually trying to hit the officer at all. It looked like they were trying
and let's be clear. I wasn't saying she was trying to. I want to be clear about
that.
I
know.
I
get that.
That's what
I'm just saying, but
even
here in New York City, if you know, obviously we have body cameras. If someone is like directly trying to drive like into you, and you have to have really concrete, like full proof of that, because what they're gonna we've had a lot, not me personally, hopefully I never have to deal with anything like that. They're always going to look at it, you know, was there a way that you could have
de-escalated,
you know, dove out of the way? Could you stepped out of the way? So the only time really that we're allowed to, I can tell you the time that we're allowed to use deadly physical force against someone driving in a car is if someone is using deadly physical force from inside the car, not counting the car. So what do I mean by that? Well, exactly what it sounds like. If someone had a firearm inside the car and they were firing, we would be justified to fire upon the car, because the way they look at it here, you have to remember, you know, in New York City, we have millions and millions of people. So you have to look at the risk. And if let's say you have someone, you know, it still might not be a great situation. And this is why it's very difficult, you know, the actual decision to take out your firearm and fire could be a split-second decision. And maybe someone is firing at me from inside the car, right? And now I fire at them, I take them out, and now what happens? That this guy now is hit, or a girl is hit with my round, and they drive and they hit into 30 people on the side.
Yep.
And just to, and I put it up while you were talking. The very, very first paragraph, the shoot was justified because she was trying to run him over. That, just like I said, I knew it as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, they're going to say she tried to run him over, and that was self-defense, and that was the lead thing. She tried to run him over.
Well, I just wanted to just give some perspective from what I saw and my take on that. Of course, you knew that it was going to be politicized immediately. And it is my understanding that there was an ICE raid going on in that neighborhood, and there's a lot of people protesting in the area. And see, I don't like the politicization of everything, but there's another angle. I don't know why they didn't show it. That's from 3/4 close up of the vehicle and the two officers. Now, the one was approaching the window, trying to open the door. And then the other one, the other ICE agent, sort of walked partially in front of the car. And then he drew his gun.
Yeah.
And they were, what I saw, we'll investigate it further, or we can do it on our own. The the driver started to turn. I did not. My impression was they were scared. You got masked ICE agents there. It's a very heated political environment. They don't want them there in that state. And then when she started to try to, he's pointing a gun at her. I got the impression that the driver might have been terrified, and they tried to drive away, and then he shot them, and he killed the driver.
Yeah.
And of course, I immediately knew it would be totally politicized, and it is, and it will be. Of course, that's our government loves to fucking keep us divided. So, you know, it's horrific that this shit is going on in this day and age, and that our government seems to take. I mean, they seem to relish keeping us fighting each other, which I've been saying forever. Don't buy it. If anybody knows me and knows what I post about and what I talk about, is stop buying it. Don't buy into it, because that's what they want. Now, I don't think that this was a planned event or anything, but I'm just saying they're not going to let this go to waste. They're going to say these crazy leftists, and then these crazy, terrorist ICE agents. The bottom line, it's an unfortunate situation, and we should all look into it, because it's important, I think, to be able to zoom out and see things in context of what actually happened.
Yeah, and it's tough because I have a million thoughts on something I just saw for the first time, and so I don't know how far to go with it. Fucking Joe started this out on a topic we weren't. Joe, did we not tell you at the beginning of this that we had a ton to talk about tonight, and then you lead out with that shit? But anyways,
dude, it's too big. I mean, it's too big, to do it. And I have to say, you mentioned Charlie Kirk. What I've noticed in that case is the political lines have blurred a lot in the Charlie Kirk case. A lot.
Definitely.
Just like they have with the Epstein files. The political lines have blurred, and that gives me hope. Because I think more people are waking up to that whole tactic of
it was much more divisive in the early days, where it's kind of getting a little bit toned down on the rhetoric now and starting to become an actual
definite. And I will
and last thing, and then I'll shut my mouth. A while ago, I posted a video clip, a terrible video clip, before I knew how to work my camera and all that stuff, and I posted it to Substack about. I said, I think that a lot of people are looking at the Charlie Kirk assassination too conventionally. And I listed some things, what I thought, that it was, in my opinion, likely a military grade weapon was used. It was not a person with a rifle or a person with a gun. Some type of military grade weapon. That's what my opinion was. And in the last month or so, all the large content creators have shifted away from the conventional narrative of it was a firearm of some kind. We just don't know what kind. We don't know what kind of round it really was, et cetera, and so on. They're talking about a bunch of different things. But I'm just saying, think outside the box, because if you believe in what you feel strongly about, you may not be the popular one, but a lot of times things play out, and gut instincts and intuition are often somewhat correct. In my opinion, I think we're going to, one day, find out it was not a conventional weapon that was used in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Anyway, I'm done.
Fuck, that's some deep stuff, dude. I mean,
thanks for showing up, JJ.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. I really feel a little heavy because we have all this stuff to talk about Idaho 4 and stuff like that. And here we started with a brand new shooting on the streets of the US and another person killed in what seems like it could have been an unavoidable situation. We've got systemic problems in our country. you know, and I don't want to go on a huge rant about it and monologue, but it's like a somber moment. Like, how sad that had to fucking happen in the first place. Like that's just, man, how come we're just not better than that? That's the thing. I'm struggling with this. I want to get us into a different mode, but how are we not better than this? How does this shit can still keep happening?
Well, we're in a tough situation.
Fully agree. That was a very, in my opinion, I'm with 1-1 on this. It was an absolute unjustified shooting. I don't think the man was anywhere near the front of the vehicle.
No.
And I think that could have been de-escalated a way different way, and that's sad to see.
Why not just shoot the tire?
And one of the things too, like there's a lot of people. I mean, again, we're going to spend all night on this, but a lot of people have this. A lot of people have this attitude of, you can't run from the police. So if you run from the police, you can get shot. Fuck them. You've been pulled over. You clearly were stopped by police, so you can't leave. And if you did, you got what's coming to you. That's got to be corrected as well. Like again, like you said, you don't know what's going through that driver's mind. They were clearly trying to get into her car. So she might have been terrified with a bunch of armed agents trying to get into her car, and she's trying to like avoid getting killed on the streets, and in her fear of her life gets killed, ironically.
Yeah. But it's important because you might not have caught it. I agree with you guys on that. You have to look closely. He was partially in front of her car. There was another guy next to the guy who was trying to open her door. Now, I tend to agree with 1-1, but I see both sides of it. I could see the argument, I should say, for the other aspect. You know, you should have complied, stopped the car, etc. Or you shouldn't have been there in the first place. I get that. But as far as what 1-1 is saying, that's my gut feeling, is that it was excessive.
Our number one goal, job, whatever it is, I've said it multiple times. It doesn't matter what police department you're in, is to preserve life.
Yeah,
obviously,
life.
You know, we have to, you know, protect each other. We protect first responders, all that great stuff. But our number one job is to preserve life. So unless there is an immediate threat, again, I need more info. I need more context of why were they there? You know, was this just kind of a car stop from a violation that the person took off? Like, why were they trying to stop this car to begin with? I need more info. But just from that video, and I need to see some other angles.
Yeah.
I did not see enough there that would justify shooting.
And as a real quick to finish this discussion up so we can move on to some other things, I'm going to warn people probably right now, we're getting to a point in America where everybody has cameras. There are cameras everywhere. And why I'm saying that's a warning is there more than likely is a very graphic video of this shooting. And so be careful when you're looking for this stuff like that. Like I said, there are cameras everywhere, and watching somebody get shot can be traumatic on you. So if you're not the kind of person who can handle that stuff like that, don't go looking for those videos. Stay with mainstream media as far as that goes, because mainstream media isn't going to show blood and gore. But if you go out there and just search for things, if you don't have a strong stomach, it can be shocking to the senses to watch somebody get killed. And again, we have cameras everywhere now, so there's going to be great, very, very vivid footage somewhere. Probably somebody got that in an angle that the Charlie Kirk thing was horrendous. If you saw the right videos, right, it was pretty gruesome. So
I'll tell you, yes, 100% what Lee you just said, and I'll tell you, you may think you can handle it.
Yeah,
guys, I saw thousands and thousands of situations, and I have PTSD from my job. So there's no lie.
You probably Dago, I would say you probably, you first responder, we might do a different job, but I would say you're probably numb to seeing a lot of the stuff.
In some extremes, yes.
And
Yeah, 100%, guys, and don't think you're too strong for it, because nobody is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I won't. And I'll try to end here. I'm not good on that, but I won't give the specifics. But I think I can think of 3 things in my life now that I've seen that I can never unsee, and it has shocked me, and I can't shake it. There's things that I wished to God I had not seen. So be careful when you're looking for this stuff. It can damage you for life. So
the hardest thing is seeing a child or a kid. I mean, it's not good seeing. It's not good seeing anyone get hurt. I'm not saying it doesn't do anything, but seeing a child or kid either die or
that's what gave me
that's
my
tough.
PTSD.
It's tough.
Yes,
Yep.
right in front of you, in your hands, 100%, folks.
Yeah.
No.
I saw basically saw like a 12 or 13-year-old. He basically died like right. I was on scene maybe a minute after this kid got shot in a playground, and then I saw him take his last breath.
And along that lines, I will say, I'll make a promise to you as my audience. I will never show you something without giving you massive warning if I think it's going to have some kind of shock value or whatever. So that video I felt was safe because, again, it's CNN. CNN will never show you something too graphic. Even that might have been triggering for some people to see. I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
For a reason.
Yeah. So, but the point being is that if I ever have something that needs to be, like, for example, if we were looking at a crime scene photo and we needed to analyze what really happened and what kind of wounds and it's morbid and graphic, I would never show that on the main public stream, and I would give you massive warnings before we do. So I'll never shock you by just throwing something up on screen. Again, this video was safe, I felt, but even so, it was a little disturbing, right? It's still disturbing.
Yeah, because you envision what just took place. You hear the gun, you see where it's aimed, you watch the car take off and hit another car, which tells you what happened right there. Okay, that means she's no longer with us if she drove right into another car. I mean, it's envisioned right there, guys. Everybody can play it out in your own mind, and you will think about it later. That's all I'm telling you. So yes.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks to Joe who started this off on such a.
I never said I was always tactful.
It's all good. We're beating you up, but it's fair game. Like we're a true crime show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about things
know
like
about this stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So
what a way to start the show.
Definitely.
All right. So we've spent 42 minutes. We're already. I feel like we're getting longer every time we turn on the mic. We're getting longer. So let me tell you that I know for sure we got 2 topics to talk about tonight that are going to be long-winded. One of which is kind of one brought it to my attention, and Robin together kind of like, hey, we got to talk about when Xana and Ethan got home and when the DoorDash was ordered and the conflicting stuff about the timing on that. Because again, in the Idaho 4 case, there are people out there who believe that Xana ordered DoorDash at 4:00 in the morning, and this is proof of life. Therefore, all the people who say, look, those murders happened hours before they say it did, can't be. Xana's still alive at 4:00 ordering food. Food's getting delivered. Everyone's alive in the house at 4:00 in the morning because of that proof of life. And I've told people over and over again, text messages are not proof of life. Now there's more stuff to talk about whether or not the entire timeline has been shifted, and did that order get placed earlier? Was it hours early? Like the entire timeline of this case. It's like something did happen and the entire timeline was shifted by 2 hours so they can put it on who they wanted to put it on. It's like stuff is real close, but just 2 hours off or something. It's fucking crazy. That's one topic to talk about. The other topic is, of course, the 3-hour marathon Dago and 11 and I did today, breaking down the audio of the shooting of Brent Copaka. It took us a while before we realized that we've been given a truncated dispatch audio, so we weren't getting real-time stuff, and we realized, how the hell are they already gassing the place within about 20 minutes? Like, that's ridiculous. Well, it wasn't. It was 8 hours of dispatch compressed into 1 hour, and what they left out was shocking. And so I wanted to talk about some of the highlights that happened there. So there's 2 big topics: the dispatch call that was truncated that we talked about today, and some of the key things that we saw today on that, and then this the Xana Ethan DoorDash mystery. So, which one do you think we should do first and tackle last out of those 2 big topics?
Well, I mean, the DoorDash one is more of a theory. You know, we have info on it now, but it's still, you know, it helps make another, peels another layer of the onion off. Just letting us know now we know definitively when the DoorDash was ordered, right? So it's 2:15 a.m. Now, as we've said many times on this channel, on many nights, it's from Xana's account. Does that mean that, did she actually make the order? Did they make the order? Did she make the order from someplace else?
Do you have the receipts handy that we can put on screen?
I sent them to you.
Yeah, but they're on my phone, and it's not easy to get them from my phone to my computer to the back screen. So I can try to move them. But so if you want to keep talking, I guess I can try to load them up. I was just asking if you had another way to get it there.
And I wrote down some questions about Copaka and some of the things we've talked about that kind of popped into my mind.
Yeah.
At some point, I'd like to.
Okay. About Copaka. Okay.
So while you're trying to pull it up, so yeah, it's still, it is confusing because it still doesn't give us it doesn't give us the answer. It's what is interesting. One of the things is that there was a message that went to Molly. So they say that the driver is M-M. It doesn't actually say Molly. We're assuming it's Molly. There's a message at 3:54 that says, "Are you having trouble finding it?" Now, what's interesting about this is that Molly was interviewed and she never said anything about this at all. She did say she thought she saw someone, a female with dark hair, right? Like peeking up, and she thought she saw a female. Do we trust Molly's word? Did she see someone? But why did we never hear about this? Are you having trouble finding it? So
so we may be remembering a little bit different on that. Is that the document I should put up on screen, the one that you loaded, Robin?
Yeah, it shows the time the order is placed, and I think the text message.
So what is this we're looking at? Or Xana Kernodle placed the order at 2:15 a.m.
This is a DoorDash. This is a DoorDash receipt. This is from DoorDash. This is what the I guess MPD, the official. That's why.
Yeah, it came back on the search warrant.
All this other stuff is blacked out because it's other people. It has nothing to do with the case. But this is completely different than some of the other documents there. This is completely different than even what Hitler said, because there's a document there where we basically were led to believe that the order came from Ethan and not from Xana. So
yep.
Does that make a big difference? Well, to me it does. I mean, why even lie about it? Why it's what's the point of lying?
So I'm working this through in my mind. So this document, which I haven't seen before and I don't know where it's coming from, says Xana Kernodle placed the order at 2:15 a.m. Now that's interesting time frame because again, the screaming that we hear that we've heard on the 1112 happens at about 2:27 a.m. So this would be the order placed for food before the horrific screaming where we think possibly something has already happened, right? So that places this text ordering the food before the shit hits the storm potentially, right?
And messes interesting. It messes with the timeline because remember, I believe Dylan had a text with Eric Gower at 2:10.
Yeah.
So this would be right around that. This would be right around that time.
There's a lot of normal everyday life things going on right around this period of time before all the shit hits the fan. I mean, 12 minutes before the scream starts, there's an order being placed for DoorDash, and 2:10, so 5 minutes before the order's placed, you got somebody else calling to try to order food or to see what the hell the DoorDash or the rideshare driver's doing. I mean, there's a lot of things going on right before all this shit happens.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a stream of consciousness, and I feel bad because I'm not trying to shoot any theory down. I'm going to do a stream of consciousness to explain what I remember. I don't remember them saying when Xana ordered the food. So it's super interesting hearing that Xana ordered the order at 2:15 in the morning before you hear all those screams.
They never did. They never did.
Right.
They didn't.
So that part is new, and that part is very interesting. What's
Yes.
not necessarily new is this. I don't remember how long where it was said, but I remember Molly McMichaels made a statement that she had a problem finding the house and that she had to drive around in circles because the GPS was taking her to the back of the house and she couldn't find it. And she was confused and she saw at the back of the house and she got out of the car and she had to walk around to the front of the house. Like that whole thing, I can't misremember. That's a whole thing, right? She said she had problems finding the house. I also remember off of my mind that there was some kind of question about whether she delivered it, and she clarified it was a contactless delivery. I left it on the front porch. So that part of this discussion here at the timing makes some sense, right? 3:59, it's reported that the DoorDash was dropped off. After this, it looks like, or is it after that the text message comes in saying, are you having problems finding it? That's when maybe the timing looks like before. Why is it in the comment? Okay. So those are the things I remember. So what does that leave us then? Let's walk this through. What does that leave us? So again, proof of life, right? So did Xana order the DoorDash at 4 or something? No, that's
no.
At best, you have a text message just before 4 a.m. asking if they're having problems finding the delivery, of which the food was ordered hours before. And by the way, just to make sure we're all on the same page, that's not necessarily suspicious. It's a Saturday night. Everybody's ordering food. There's probably a lot of fucking things. There's delays. It wouldn't be necessarily, in my mind, totally uncommon for you to place an order at 2:15 and be still looking for your order at fucking 4 in the morning because it could have gotten lost, could have been backed up, could have been a lot of deliveries. So that's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility. But what do you guys think about the 2:15 time frame of ordering the food?
What would help with this would definitely, again, would be the stomach contents, the autopsy.
Yes.
This would back this up, because if we could see the stomach contents, because we can find out, we can know exactly what was ordered. If Ethan has this in his stomach, then we know that he's alive, because we see here. We see it was ordered at 3:59. That's when it was dropped off. So we would know definitively. Well, if Ethan has some of that food content in his stomach, undigested or whatever, we would know that he's alive at around 4 o'clock.
So this is what's funny. You're right. We need to have the autopsy report, and we need to find out about food in the stomach to see if Xana ever ate any of that DoorDash food. Was she already gone before the food got delivered? Because that's what we're saying is the food. She was already gone before the food got delivered, possibly, but based on the screams, right? So
because if you're talking about, the whole thing started at like 4:07. That doesn't give you very much time to scarf that food down, even if you are a college student. I mean, you would have had to
let's get crazy. Let's get crazy. She orders the food, then the murders happen, and then let's say we've been saying all along there's a cleanup happening after the murders. Now there's a cleanup happening, but there's a car circling the neighborhood. It's Molly trying to look to deliver the stuff, and maybe people are ducking down on the windows like, fuck, there's a car circling the house all over the place, like, right? So what if this is what Molly sees? I see somebody ducking and trying not to be seen. She goes up there anyways and drops off the food, and now they're like, fuck, we've got a problem. Somebody ordered DoorDash and it just got delivered, but they're dead. Send a text message to show that we're still alive. Like, could that have happened? I mean, that sounds crazy. Could have happened?
It could have.
Because why would Xana be trying to hide from the DoorDash driver?
Right.
I'll be like, that's my food. I'm going down to get my food, guys.
Right.
And you have a kind of a timeline, guys. It's kind of wild. That 2:15, the orders placed to DoorDash. 2:27, you start hearing these screams. Okay.
Yep.
3:16 a.m. is Xana's last TikTok that she did. So if she did it, okay. Then 3:59 a.m. the DoorDash is received. So does that how does that work out? You know what I'm saying? Because we truly do not know when Xana and Ethan got home still. So take that all into effect.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's
another
another
thing
part
too,
Yeah, go
DA.
ahead.
Another thing, you guys, it's possible that somebody else ordered, obviously, the food with Xana's phone, but it also could have been the roommates. Like, Xana, you got, order some DoorDash, because remember they got home and they were talking about going back to the grub truck or ordering
Yeah.
more food.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else was like, just, you got the app or whatever. Who knows? But it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that in either case that Xana or Ethan ordered anything. And I can't help but I keep seeing this thing has come up many times on message boards, and I recently saw it again. People were saying that DoorDash is used to deliver other stuff.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that a lot, and it would make
happens here.
perfect sense to me. So we didn't get any autopsy things talking about the food, which is why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't anybody in the media, anybody in law enforcement, anybody say, oh yeah, well, we estimate because, based on the autopsy results, and this is when we believe the food was delivered, so this is what we think happened. Nothing about that.
Let me also tell you something that I think didn't you hear? Wasn't there reports that there was partially eaten food from the DoorDash order on the counter? And here's the thing, and I know people are going to think I'm nuts, and so it's speculation. Everything about this case sucks balls. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this. What is the possibility if Xana had ordered food at 2:15 in the morning and then was killed, but the food's delivered late, and so they're like, oh shit, food just got delivered, that the killers are like, well, fuck it, we got some food delivered, let's take a bite, and they take a bite. Did anybody test to make sure that the bites of the food, again, you need to have the stomach contents. Did Xana eat the food, or did somebody else eat the food?
Right.
Because what if somebody else just like, well, fuck, she ordered a burger, I'm going to take a couple bites and put it on the counter, partially eaten, kind of thing. Like, how do you know? Again, there's no proof of life just because food was eaten. There's no proof Xana was the one that ate that food. Anyone in that house that was alive could have said, oh, fuck it, we got some food delivered, I guess I'll take a couple bites.
And did they test it? Did they test the bag? Did they test the partially eaten food for DNA?
You know why they didn't? I would argue they didn't, because they already know what happened.
And they were trying to hide, and you have to try to think too, like, what is the big deal? Why are they trying to hide that the order came from Xana?
Right.
So before this came out, they kept saying that Ethan, that the order came from Ethan. And I remember the crime scene, the original crime scene photo that we got, although those photos are a bunch of nonsense, they blacked out the name too.
And people are saying, look, they could test the food for saliva. I agree. They could test and they're probably never going to do that because they already believe they know what happened. So what's the point of testing the food? Like, we don't need to test the food. We know what happened, or we know the story we're going with. So there's no need to test the food. There's nothing suspicious about it. But we, the public, think there's something suspicious about it, and we'd like to know whose saliva is on the food. But even so, without the saliva, again, stomach contents would tell us whether Xana even ate that food. Because if Xana doesn't have that food in her stomach, then she didn't eat the food and somebody else did. So then if that was, now listen, if it came back that Xana didn't have that food in her stomach, then you'd say, well, then we need the food. Did the saliva get tested on the food? Because somebody ate the food and you've been telling it it's Xana, but Xana doesn't have it. So now I want a DNA test on the food, right? So, you'd have to first prove that she didn't eat it, and we can't have that without the body content, the stomach contents. Now, here's the funny thing about that, as a side. I'm not saying to Joe's favorite word that there's fuckery involved here, but I will tell you this. I went to the post office today, and I had one of my certified letters returned to me undeliverable. The certified letter was to the Latah County Coroner's Office. I had requested them to give me the autopsy stuff that we're talking about right here. It was returned unsigned for. Here's the funny thing that the post office told me. You have a good address, just nobody picked it up. So
wow.
I never factored that in. Could they look at it and go, I'm not signing for something for the devil's advocate? Fuck that guy. I know what he's looking for.
They can refuse it. If they refuse it, if you can refuse it and just say, no, this no, I'm not accepting that. And then it doesn't show up as being delivered, and it gets either returned or gets
But I think it's
undeliverable.
still. But I think that's still why that. I don't think they can hide behind that forever, because autopsy it's a public record.
So we'll tell you two things. One, the post office. Yeah. So I want to address that too. So three things. One, I asked the post office. I said, "Is that common that nobody just?" She says, "What probably you sent it to a PO box." So what it means is nobody went to the post office box during the time they marked a attempt to deliver, and then a certain time goes by and they say a second attempt to deliver, and no one signs for it so that it gets returned. She did say, "Look, you sent it during the holidays. This isn't totally uncommon. Maybe they didn't check their mailbox during the holidays." This person says the coroner's office is closed. So is that closed permanently or is that closed temporarily? And that's why. So it may not, just like I said, it may not be fuckery. But what I did do immediately is I went home and I took that letter, I opened it up, I found their physical address, and I resent the letter to the physical address, went down there and sealed it right back to the post office to their physical address, and no PO box this time. So I did send it right back out.
I have a question that we had spoken about it recently, and my brain's on overload this week and I forget. When did the timeline again shift from the remember they had said, oh, it was between 2:30 and this time, and then it was between 4 and 4:20. When did that shift?
We read that the other night on the thing. We read one of the articles, and it was early in the investigation that they said they thought it happened at 2 something in the morning. It shifted. I will say that it shifted, I believe. God, when did it? You're right. I don't remember when it shifted. I don't want to say, because for me the key was, did it shift after they knew about Kohberger? That was the key. Did they shift the timeline after they knew about Kohberger?
It was really early.
It was
really early.
Okay.
It was after the Elantra was.
Well, that speaks to what we all talk about, that in probably most of our opinions, they knew way more early on, and they potentially needed to shift the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree, they needed to shift the timeline, and I think my memory tells me, gosh, I hope I'm not wrong. My memory tells me that they shifted the timeline before Kohberger was officially identified, but it may have been because of the white Elantra, and then they, went from the white Elantra to Kohberger. But yeah,
right, because if they see the car on the surveillance footage, they have no idea who Kohberger is at this point. They just see what they believe is a white Elantra.
Right.
And that would also explain misidentifying the year of the vehicle, because, it's this year and this is what and then later they change the year, and what a coincidence, that's the year that Kohberger is driving.
Yeah, they use that, and then they use Dylan's messages to back it up.
Yeah, and this person says, I thought we didn't see the shifted timeline until the PCA. And if that's the case, then again, Kohberger has already been identified in the PCA, because the PCA is written for the probable cause to arrest Kohberger. So they obviously know who they want. And that's and that kind of does jive. That a lot of people were like, well, what do you mean the timeline's now 4 o'clock in the morning? Like, because it was in the PCA where a lot of people heard that for the first time, I think. But.
Yeah, it's just that whole thing. It's just we were talking about the book Framed, and we're talking about all these cases, and it's just, and now with Delphi, and it just keeps hammering that angle home to me, that things were shaped and shifted, and it's just fuckery.
It is fuckery.
I mean, I don't know how anybody can be, at this point in time, believing the official narrative. I just don't even see how an intelligent person could even go along with that, with what we know now.
And I don't know if you guys have it. I want to talk one more time about when Ethan and Xana got back and the girls hanging out in the bedroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you guys have that handy to put on screen? If not, I'll just talk about it.
I highlighted that. Actually,
no, for screen. Do you have it on screen, or
no?
Can you put it on screen?
I sent it in the. I put it in the. Hold on.
Yeah, I saw it, but again, getting it from my phone to my computer to
Yeah.
StreamYard is not easy.
Hang on.
I mean, I can read it.
Well, I'd rather show
I
it
have
if we
it-
can.
Yeah.
Hang on. I just had to download it to my computer.
Yeah, it's highlighted. It's the thing. It's highlighted in pink.
Yep. Hang on.
Yeah, I
now
remember.
it's
I remember what it looks like. I just want to show it first if I can.
And then
Hold on.
this
Did
was-
you, any while you're looking for that? Did you guys see Birdie's video where about our pal called into?
Yeah.
we heard.
Yeah, we talked about that just before
we
you
talked
got
about
here.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
we heard about
Oh man.
What
That
you
was-
didn't hear is somebody in listen.
it. You'll love
somebody
this.
somebody
You'll
in
love
Birdie's
this.
chat said, "I think that's DA who listen to the voice. That's DA that's heckling you." So he texted me and says, "Hey, people in my chat think it was you that called in and heckled me," and I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like, because that dude's been on my show heckling me. That's not me, but somebody in Birdie's chat thinks that's me. That's the Dylan Mort guy going on Birdie's show to fuck with them and pretend. And they're like, "Yeah, listen to his voice. That's DA all the way." No, it's fucking
Well,
not me. So
How are you supposed to be doing that when you're on your own live? At the
right.
I just thought it was funny because, all this shit pops up in my feed, and Birdie has his clips and stuff, and then
Yeah.
that popped up, and I'm like, I recognize that dude's voice, and
Yeah.
I wasn't
Oh, yeah, I
thinking
recognize
DA. I was thinking someone that we had on. I don't know if I should say it. I probably.
Dylan Mort. Yeah, it's the guy that came on our show. It's the same guy. It's the
Mhm.
same
But it
guy.
was the guy that was on our show wasn't it Twiz?
No, it's not the same.
No,
No.
but some people say it sounds like Twiz as well. So some
Dago,
people have
Dago
said
said Dago said he's had both of them on at the same time.
Okay, because that guy, he basically went through a rant and said nothing. He literally. I was waiting for the guy to be like, "No, you need to look at this or you need to look at that." And then what does he say? He calls into rant and then goes, "Oh, Birdie, I'm not going to give you that, man. I'm not going to give you and you take." And I posted a comment. I'm like, this fucking guy gets on here and he's like talking shit and then produces nothing.
right. And the only reason I even brought it up is because I'm frustrated at the idea that somebody has it in their mind that I don't like Birdie and that I'm going on his show, disguising myself as people to heckle his show because I don't like the guy. I don't know where you guys get this opinion where people, but there's like this growing sentiment that I have it out for Birdie, and I don't know where it's coming from. But that guy was on our show heckling on a little bit our panel, and you guys were here for that.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking about. That was. Because look, I'm all for people disagreeing and even talking shit. I'm down. Bring it on, man. You want to talk shit, talk shit. But if you're going to criticize the chat and then like better, but then you don't produce anything.
right.
It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Put up or shut up. I mean,
Right,
bring it on, man. If you got beef, defend your argument. Put it up, debate.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put up this one more piece of the timeline question based on when did Ethan and Xana get home? We're going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we're going to kind of try to put a bow on the timeline issue because we're going to talk about it for a while, the timeline issue. And then let's shift to the Brent Copaka stuff for a while. And if we have time left, we'll cover some Delphi too. All right. So I don't know if you can blow that up any bigger because I don't know that I have the ability to blow it up. But if not, can you? I can't probably read it well enough. Can you read that paragraph?
Who?
Anybody that can see it better than me? Because
I mean, I can read it if you want.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
this was from Hitler. So after spending the evening out, roommates Dylan, Bethany, Kaylee, and Madison returned to their home at 1122 King Road in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. At approximately 2 a.m., they met up in Kaylee's bedroom and talked for a while before going to bed. The fifth roommate, Xana, who was out with her boyfriend Ethan Chapin, was not home yet. The roommates debated going out to a food truck for a late night snack, prompting Dylan to send a text at 2:10 a.m. to an Uber driver she knew to see if he was driving. Ultimately, however, the girls decided to just go to bed.
So let's talk about this. Everybody has questions about when did Xana and Ethan even get back from the party at Sigma Chi or wherever the hell they were, because I believe people they were at Sigma Chi. When did they get back? Dylan had said in one of the many statements, everyone was pretty much back at the house by 2 a.m. This statement tries to act like, hey, the girls were up at 2 a.m. But guess what? Xana and Ethan aren't there at 2 o'clock in the morning. So the narrative has always been everyone was back at the house by 2 o'clock in the morning and they went to bed. Now all of a sudden you find out the girls are together in a bedroom. And I should say we find out now. It's not now. This has been out there for a while. I remember the discussion about the girls in the bedroom. But again, the statement that Xana and Ethan weren't there at the house at this point. So the girls are together and Xana's not there because Xana and Ethan haven't arrived back by 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the statement makes it sound like they all decided after kind of thinking about going and getting food at Grub Truck or getting an Uber driver, they kind of call the whole idea off and decide to go to bed. That's not consistent with what we know actually happens later on. So let's talk about the fuckery of that paragraph. What do you guys think? When did Xana and Ethan get back? Is that just a look? There's a part of me that says in any crime, things often get really convoluted. You have one person saying this, another person saying that, and whatever. And it's really common for the stories to not match up, and somebody has to kind of put it all together and make sense of what really happened. I mean, I could tell you as just a quick aside. A car accident. If you get witnesses to say what happened in a car accident, you can't get two people to tell you what happened in that car accident exactly the same. Everyone sees it differently and they get it all fucked up and tangled up. Eyewitness testimony is one of the worst things ever. One should know that because people can't fucking remember if you had a pink jacket on or a blue jacket on. The littlest of details you'd think people would get right, they get wrong all the time. Eyewitness testimony is for dick. So is this just a simple matter of people not remembering things right or what?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I just can't remember, you guys can probably fill me in or the den can. I do recall seeing a Linda Lane footage where it looked like Ethan was walking in. I mean, unless somebody faked it, it was on the Linda Lane footage that we've all seen. And it was, it looked Ethan. If you asked me, I would say that, yeah, that's Ethan walking in there. And that was rumored to be the case, that they were over there at some point. So if that can be, verified and compared, look at the timeline, it could give a better idea of what time they got home. And I just don't remember. I don't remember. It was a while ago that I saw that stuff posted. Do you guys recall that?
I don't remember the Ethan thing. I don't, right? But
I know
what was the time frame on it?
I know what he's talking about. I'm trying to remember. I saw that video too.
Real quickly, because I don't.
There's a few people who were like walking, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Was Xana supposed to be with him or not?
No, I don't think so. But I know what he's talking about. I don't remember the exact time though.
I'm going to be brief on this comment because I have to.
Yeah.
Dead people can't send text messages. Dead people can't send. Gabby Petito.
Yeah.
Again, Brian Laundrie texting her family to make it look like she's still alive. You're right. Dead people can't send text messages. I can agree with that, but that doesn't say shit. It doesn't tell you who's sending the text messages. So if you're proof that everything happened the way they said it is because dead people can't send text messages, go check out cases like Gabby Petito's case and who was texting using her phone to make it look like she was alive when she wasn't.
Right. And just to add to that, the doc or whatever, your message, just think about it logically. Like if you're someone there, if you were one of the perpetrators or whoever was involved, wouldn't that be an easy way to, like, you're trying to just think real quick to kind of, fuck with the timeline. Oh,
Right.
let's order door. Like that's such a simple thing to do. Let's order
Yeah.
food from one of their phones, making people think that they're alive.
100%. I mean, I know people think that that conspiracies are crazy and that nobody goes to that level. But if you're trying to cover up a murder, taking the victim's phone and making a text message to make it look like they're alive when they wouldn't is simple 101. Like, I think that would happen a lot, that people would want to throw off the timeline saying, oh, they were still alive at X number of time because I picked up their phone after they were dead and sent the text message. It must prove they were alive. Text messages don't mean shit.
Right.
So,
or even with that, or even like, you know, we don't know conclusively. Same thing, like making a post, you know, a picture post on Instagram or any of that kind of stuff. It's anything to mess with the timeline, you know?
Yep.
And just something to interject, that something just reminded me of it, but someone posted in one of the comments of one of our videos talking about Copaka that it's dishonorable to do that. And I just wanted to clarify that I have always made the argument that it's just very suspicious the way that Copaka was sort of brushed under the rug, and we didn't get a lot of disclosure about him and about what happened and if he was ever a suspect or anything like that. There could be other things that we learn more information about. You know, I am not set on any one idea with this case. But my whole thing is you have to ask questions if things are strange and don't necessarily make sense. And I can understand people getting, you know, being sensitive to that. I get it. But it's just, if things don't add up in a case like this, you have to question everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think this guy posted, where is it? No, wrong one. This one. That sounds about right. 12:27. Yeah, I know it was earlier in the night.
Yeah, somebody else said they saw it. I know I saw it. I just couldn't remember approximately. I knew it was after midnight. And I just wonder if anybody saw footage of him leaving.
I need to get my sarcasm on for the night. I feel lonely. So I don't understand. I don't understand why we're talking about this. Bryan Kohberger pled guilty. Why the fuck are we still talking about this? He obviously did it. He pled guilty to it. I got told that. Listen, oh my God. So I had somebody who believes Bryan Kohberger didn't do this crime, was working with the feds all along and is a federal agent and didn't do this, and therefore does not believe Bryan Kohberger's confession when he said he did it, tell me today, well, yes, Richard Allen did the murders. Didn't you fucking hear him confess? He confessed to the murders. And I'm like, you're the same person who just said Bryan Kohberger's confession's horseshit, and now you're saying that your logic for why Richard Allen is the killer is because, well, he confessed to it, you dumbass. I'm like, oh my God. Like, can we at least have some fucking consistency? But anyways.
Yeah, it's just, I think this case is fucked, man. I just think there's so many. I've never seen a case ever. I never even read about a case in a book, you know, a true crime or profiling book or anything in which there were so many potential things that could have logically happened that have actual things that you could support that theory than this case.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, I do want to make sure, because not everybody knows, not everybody's been a watcher of this show. Is 1-1 a cop? No disrespect, but just asking. 100%. I've gone to New York. I met him. I know he's a cop. There's not a question that he's a cop. Every once in a while, some a-hole will come on here and say, quit pulling a fast one on us, assholes. That guy's not a cop. Yeah, he's cop all the way. 20 plus years NYPD. So yes, he is. And I know the person's not questioning it from a like bullshit standpoint. They're just asking, is he really a cop? So yes, he is. For those who don't watch the show, 1-1's really a cop. So just to let you know. Any other, so I mean, the timeline thing again, this is what's critical is we we have a lot of people who aren't sure exactly when Xana got back to the house. We have what appears to be a document showing Xana actually ordered the DoorDash at 2:15 in the morning, which again, from the revised questions we have, did people start getting murdered in the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame? It fits that she could still have been alive when she ordered the DoorDash. Because again, what I get told by people is, you dumbasses, Xana couldn't be being murdered somewhere between 2:30 and 3 in the morning because she ordered DoorDash at 4 in the morning. No, she did not order. I mean, even without this piece of information, you could pretty much be certain she didn't order DoorDash at 4 in the morning or she got the delivery at 4 in the morning, because you have to order it beforehand kind of thing. And again, it's a Saturday night, things are busy. So I think this is proof on the pudding that no, she didn't order DoorDash after you hear the murders. She ordered the DoorDash before you hear what sounds like murders. Yeah, what'd you have, Dago?
No, I was waving to somebody that said hi to me.
Fair. Forget about it. Yeah, so anyways, the timeline is crazy. We still have a lot of questions about the timeline. And I think the craziest part about this case is, I want to wrap up this part and kind of shift a little bit into the Copaka thing, which is still Idaho 4, so we're still staying with Idaho 4, is if this had gone to trial, think about all these questions about the timeline. If this had gone to trial, would a defense attorney be able to point out all of these inconsistencies and make a jury question, when did the murders actually happen? Your whole case rests on, and let me reiterate Bill Thompson's statement, we can't place Brian Kohberger at the house. We can only say he was near the house. We can't place him in the house. We don't know how he picked the house. We don't have any proof that he ever had any interaction with the girls. We have nothing. And that was their case. And then if you go to trial, you would have a defense that says, were the girls killed at 2 or were they killed at 4? How do you know? You can't even place Kohberger in the house. You don't know. You got conflicting statement. When did the girls get home? Was it 2 o'clock in the morning or was it after 2 o'clock in the morning? Was it pretty much 4 o'clock, or was it like, when did Bethany see the flash of light? Is it where you see the flash of light and see the firecracker thing at 2, or is it at 4? I think you would have been able to convince a jury that we don't know what happened that night, ultimately. I think, but that's just me.
I agree.
Yeah. And just to remind everyone, we don't know definitively, but it's been shown on a bunch of videos recently. It definitely looks like there's some kind of flash or something that happens at 2:48, and you kind of see the reflection. If you look at the 1112 video, that 1119 house across, that's all the
down
way
the street
north,
you can see the flash of light.
Look like you see a flash off the window. Is it some kind of shot or gunfire, or I don't know, but it definitely does look like something, but it's definitely not 4. It's definitely not 4 o'clock. So
it's nuts. All right, let's shift a little bit to the Brent Copaka situation and how it relates. I don't want to bug everybody to death, but I have long said, and I'm not the only one, so don't try to say that I'm trying to claim this myself, but I have long said many people have had questions about Brent Copaka and his possible involvement in the 1122 King Road resident murders, because 1 month and a couple days after the murders, he was, by some standards, mysteriously shot and killed by SWAT in a standoff that happened in Pullman, Washington, of which many people thought, oh my God, I think that guy was the killer. Even again, his best friend, Darren Duncan, went on TV, or not TV, but on YouTube, on different channels, saying, I think that they thought he was involved in the Idaho murders, and that might have led them to be quick to shoot. And so we've had lots of questions about that particular shooting. And again, I have speculated, Joe and I went there, that Copaka and Kohberger could have known each other. All those things are in the wind. So what did I do? I submitted public records requests for all of the shooting data, the body-worn camera, the CAD reports, all the dispatch stuff, right? All of the traffic that happened that night through various agencies, Pullman Police, WSU Police, the county, I'm trying to remember the county, Whitman County, sheriff's office, all the different agencies. And we got a big data dump back from Pullman with a whole bunch of body worn camera. And I've started to go through those on member only lives. So one of the things I'm offering to members only is live watching those videos. And Dago came on today. God, everything runs together. Was that today? Did we do all this today?
Yeah.
Holy
today.
shit, these days run together. Wow. All right. So today I started to do a 1 hour and 13-minute dispatch that starts at basically the call for a Jordan Baker has called in that his roommate is threatening to kill the roommates or whatever, and that he's suicidal. And that the individual, Brent Copaka, is barricaded in their apartment, and that he had got out. And so we started to listen. I started to listen by myself. Dago, in short order, joined me on screen. 1-1 as well joined us in chat. And we started to listen to this live, and it was great because we had somebody with former experience with EMT, Dago on there talking about what the dispatch is saying, what the codes mean. We had 1-1 in the chat saying, "Oh, when you hear this, this is what it means." It was fucking awesome. We had experts that know what radio traffic looks like to help break down what's happening, and we got duped a little bit. I will tell you, because as we're listening to it, it was like we're gonna call in SWAT. And like within 2 minutes, SWAT's on scene, and we're like, "Holy shit, they got there fast!" Right? And I remember we were live. We're going, "Man, they got there fast!" And we try to reason out, well, how could it be? Is it just one guy that's there, and they're reporting SWAT's on scene because one guy showed up? Whatever. It turns out we found out much later after we questioned. Holy shit, they're already gassing the apartment. I didn't even know they gassed the apartment, but they're gassing the apartment within the first 20 minutes or whatever. That's shortly after that we realized, oh my God, we're about to get to the point where they're going to kill Copaka. And it's only like an hour in, but the standoff lasts for 8 hours. And then we realized they had truncated the entire audio, and we were missing massive parts of the audio. So I want to tell you some of the key takeaways, and then I'll open it up for the panelists to discuss. One of the key takeaways that I got was they gassed his apartment, shot tear gas into his apartment before any shots were fired. Then once they gassed his apartment and said he was coughing, they indicate he starts shooting at people. So one has to ask if that happened. And I know there's questions about whether or not any shots were fired at all. But if that did happen, did they essentially create that scenario? They've got a guy with PTSD who's got combat issues and triggered him by cornering him in an apartment and then firing tear gas in on him. And that's when he starts shooting after they've tear gassed his apartment and kind of could have sent him into a PTSD moment, right? He's in combat now with the police. So did they start that with maybe too early shooting gas? And again, we don't know when they shot the gas because it's truncated. But what seemed clear to me was no shots fired were reported until after they'd shot gas. So it wasn't a response to try to smoke him out after he started shooting. It was the other way around. They shot gas and then he started shooting. In fact, he broke out the window, according to what we hear on there, possibly to vent his room because gas was getting into his room. And so he broke out the window to try to get try to barricade the door, possibly also to keep the fumes from coming underneath his bedroom door because he was locked into his bedroom door. Another key takeaway I took before I get the panelists going is Darren Duncan reporting that it was weird when we showed up after the shooting, Brent's phone was on the counter and it had been factory wiped. One of the interesting things that came out on the audio was early on in the audio, and I don't know when it really happened because they truncated the audio, was we've tried to reach Brent Copaka on his phone, but he tells us he has a phone, but he has no service. He has no cell service. So was Brent Copaka's phone already wiped, already out of service and not functional at the start of this event? So therefore, again, the allegation that people might have is after they killed him, somebody factory wiped his phone to hide some kind of evidence. But it sounds like early on, they're reporting Brent Copaka told them, I have a phone, but there's no service. I don't have service. And so a long discussion happens on the audio where they talk about bringing a phone in for him, either bringing in a corded phone that they can slip into his room and open the door and give him a corded phone that they can start calling. And they do that. They spend time calling Brent Copaka inside the apartment, trying to get him to pick up the phone. They talked about getting him a cell phone. But again, that was one of the details I took away, is that his phone was already out of service before this incident happened, before he was shot and killed. And then one of the other key takeaways is this, and there's probably more that I'm missing, but I'll open it up for the panelists. several times a dispatcher will say, they're reporting Brent Copaka said, and then you can't hear anything. They've redacted what he said. Several times they said, Brent said, and then it goes blank. Brent said, and then it goes blank. Only one time, clear as fucking day, Brent just said he's going to start shooting people in the parking lot. That's the one you get to hear. You get to hear unredacted. Brent just said he's going to start shooting people in the parking lot. They'll leave that in, but we didn't hear anything else Brent said, because when they say Brent just said, they redact it out. So, panelists, for those who are there, or panelists who weren't there, or people in the chat, what do you guys think about questions about that?
Just real quick, I just want to thank Juror 13 for the super chat. Just real quick.
Yeah, thank you so much
appreciate it
for
very
supporting the show. Appreciate that very much. Juror 13, clever. 12 jurors, they're Juror 13.
And A.R. Hayes he was in the chat. I don't know if he still is. He posted a few comments about Kohberger. I just wanted to throw that out there. Can I just throw a few questions out to the panel?
Yeah.
Do we know approximately how long Copaka was at the coffee house apartment, supposedly?
So here's what we do know. We watched a video on the dump that we got from Jordan Baker saying that he has known Copaka for 2 months. So there's some indication these guys were only in that apartment together for about 2 months. And it's interesting because, again, in June, there's an altercation caught on body-worn camera with Copaka where he tells the officers he lives at the Pimlico Apartments. So which would be 5 months before the murders. So did something happen between 5 months ago when he was at the Pimlico Apartments, and then he only recently in the last 2 months moved to the coffee house apartments? That's a possible scenario, because this guy says, I've only known him for 2 months. So somebody just moved in within the last 2 months, whether it was him moved in and Copaka was already there, or Copaka moved in, but they had only had a relationship for 2 months at the coffee house apartment. So that's one question. One more thing about that before you talk, Joe, is they also pointed out, and we mentioned this many, many times, during that interview with Jordan Baker, it's clear nobody had any fucking furniture in that apartment. He even says, some of my stuff is there. He tells the cops that he needs his medication, which is going to be on the floor, because apparently nobody has any furniture in this place. Nobody has any furniture. So he mentions, hey, the only reason I need to go back to that apartment is because some of my stuff is there. Well, where's the rest of your stuff? So it makes me wonder, were these guys living there, or was it a temporary situation? So.
Yeah, the main reason I brought that question up is because that guy may have known Copaka before they were roommates, and that's how he became a roommate, because he was out of his place, because he was at a hotel, right? When in that other video, correct, where he was acting psychotic.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm wondering, just after the murders, did he think he would be a suspect and he was paranoid about that, and so he bailed on the Pimlico Apartments? Or could he have thought, because he knew Kohberger, and Kohberger may have had some connection to the house in some way, shape, or form, that he was freaked out because he caught wind that maybe he was a suspect, and so he's couch surfing, basically. He's staying at a hotel, and then he's moving in with some guy that he could have met around town or through some social services program, and that's why he was there in the first place. I'm just trying to.
Well, no, and those are great questions. And here's what's interesting about that. So Jordan Baker, in his interview from a hotel room at the Quality Inn the morning of the shooting, talks about how he's only known Brent for a couple months, says that they were close, said that Brent had PTSD and schizophrenia, and he goes on at length about how Brent was paranoid all the time. By the way, I don't think he ever once refers to Brent as Brent. He never says his name. He says we're close, but he keeps referring to him as his roommate. He even at one point says, when I heard they shot that guy, which is really weird because he tells you we were close. I don't think he once calls him Brent. He just says, my roommate, that guy, when I heard that they shot that guy, I was like, how is this consistent with he's a close friend of yours when you're, anyways. But he did say that he said he was paranoid and would often say, don't call the police. He thought the police and the FBI were after him. Or the government, I should say, that not the FBI specifically, but that the police and the government were after him. So I asked the question when we were talking about that interview, is that just signs of paranoid schizophrenia, or is it possible that he did have reason to believe that the cops and the government were after him? Or is it a combo of both, that he had reason to believe and that triggered his paranoia? So we don't know. But.
And then I just had one other small question related to that. Do we know for sure that MPD was on the scene?
During the shooting? Yes.
Payne was there.
Now, there's a super interesting part of that. We talked about this at length, and I don't know how much detail we want to get into it. So on the one hand, we talked about the possibility Payne is 82nd Airborne. Brent Copaka is 82nd Airborne. Early on, they talk in the dispatch call about how, look, we've got a history with this guy. He's had previous run-ins. He's got PTSD. He's got suicidal tendencies. Would that have possibly gotten back to, hey, we've got a cop in Moscow who was in the same 82nd Airborne with this guy. Maybe we should bring him over to try to talk to him and try to use him as kind of a negotiator kind of situation. Is that possibly one of the ways Moscow got involved? Another possibility is Moscow already had Brent Copaka on their radar, and so they were there from the beginning because they already had Brent Copaka on his radar. That's another scenario. Another scenario that was super interesting was there's a discussion during the dispatch where they're looking to get drones to fly up and look in the windows of 311 where the apartment is. And they have some equipment malfunction. Their drone's not working. And they mention Moscow has a drone. Turns out Brett Payne is the person in charge of the drone in Moscow. He's the guy that leads their drone pilot program, which had only started in 2022. So did they call Brett Payne in for his drone? Because when they were looking for drones and they were having problems with their drones, did Brett Payne arrive on scene because he's literally the lead of the drone pilot program in Moscow? So there's lots of different reasons why Payne could have been there, but apparently Payne and Fry were there. What do you think about that? Any of those seem reasonable to you, or does it just smell like bullshit?
I think your last thread there is highly likely.
About the drone, because he's in charge of the drones and they were looking for a drone and Moscow had a drone, and
Well, then you have to ask, well, because I brought up the idea that Payne was brought into the Idaho 4 case as a fixer.
Right.
And so both things, both scenarios in which there's, again, this is just theories, but a lot of people would argue that Copaka is somehow connected to the Idaho 4 case. Somehow.
So let me ask you this question right here. Payne and Fry were on the SWAT team. Are SWAT teams possibly put together by members from multiple agencies? Would they assemble? Yeah. So if it's possible, right, that the SWAT could have been members of both Pullman and Moscow Police Department, and maybe they were on SWAT. That's another reason they could have been.
But then I agree that makes a lot of sense. But then it's the combination of the two things. So the interaction of that plus Payne also happens to be brought in as somewhat of a spokesperson for the Idaho 4 case. And I understand he was only there for 3 or 4 years. So that just raises that question as to why.
Now, somebody said here they weren't on the Whitman County SWAT. So, these are just questions we're spitballing on the fly. Like, right. I feel like the answer, and you guys kind of agreed, I feel like the answer is that it wouldn't be uncommon for a SWAT team to involve possibly officers from multiple jurisdictions or multiple things. I would think that they would do that and put it together for a SWAT team. Was it Whitman County's SWAT team? Was it Palouse County's SWAT team.
That happens. That happens over here all the time. If they needed to use, if they wanted to use some kind of drone or some kind, if they needed some kind of bomb technician or something, and a nearby county or a neighboring county has an expert working, or they definitely, they would use their services. Absolutely.
I'll tell you another thing here's the thing. Like, I feel like this is proof that we're intellectually honest, right? We could all double down on our theory that there's no excuse for Payne to be there and Fry to be there, and therefore it's a major cover up and this stinks to high heaven. And yet we're being intellectually honest. We're saying, look, if they were members of SWAT, that could be why they're there. If Payne's in charge of the drone pilot program in Moscow and they were having problems with drones, that could be a reason why Payne is there. So we're not being biased in saying it only happened one way. We're keeping open-minded, and that's the way everybody should be, is work through this. And at the end of the day, won't we all be fucking shocked if every single craziness in this case can be explained away? I highly doubt it, because as Joe would say, if it was any one thing, you might be able to excuse it. But when there's so many things lined up, at some point it becomes ridiculous, all the things that have to be excused away. But I wanted to point out another thing that we may have gotten tricked on, but I'm not sure we were tricked on. Meaning, so Dago and I were talking at length about whether or not shots really were fired that night, right? Because a lot of this has to do with Brent Copaka started shooting at people or shooting at officers, and this is why they had to end his life. And yet, there has been very little proof that he shot at anybody. So as Dago and 1-1 and I and the team are all listening to the dispatch, they start reporting tons of shots. Shots fired, and Dago started counting it. Every single time they would say again, another shot was fired, he'd put his finger up like there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. We got to like 10 shots fired. There was probably more, and they were constant. And at some point towards late before they shoot him, they say he just hit one of our vehicles. Now, before they were saying earlier in the night, they said the shots fired were shot into the air. It looked like he was crouching low and that the bullets were going up into the sky. So they didn't think he was firing at anybody down below. Kind of late towards the shooting, a dispatcher says, Brent just told us he's going to start shooting people in the parking lot. They report that a vehicle has been struck. I don't know if it was a police vehicle or whatever. I think 1-1 at that point typed in there, "Oh shit!" Once you start shooting at cop cars, you're probably fucked. So it was shortly after that they shot and killed him. Now here's the odd thing. We pointed out, and at first I thought it was a major thing, and it may be. You hear what sounds like someone coughing, and they're saying that Brent's coughing. So you hear that. You hear it on camera. You even hear on the dispatch. You even hear officers open their mic and whisper, presumably because they're very close to the open door of the apartment and they're trying to be kind of quiet. And they have to say, "I can't hear that. Can you repeat it?" And so they're whispering, and you can hear whispers. What you never hear, not once, is a gunshot. You never hear a single gunshot. Now, at first I thought to myself, that's a problem. You're saying shots fired, but you never hear a gunshot on the entire thing. And at first I thought, well, maybe after I got to thinking about it and we got off of our shock phase, our frozen shock phase, I said to myself, well, okay, look. So they turn on their microphone to report, "I just heard a shot." Well, of course you're not going to hear the shot because the shot's already been taken. They're reporting he just fired a shot. But what I would argue with myself at this point is the number of times that they're saying he's shooting, not once did somebody have an open microphone and you heard the shot in the background. That would be freakishly, I think, hard to believe that he's firing that many rounds, and not once when somebody had an open mic did you hear in the background a shot being fired. Not one time. So I will tell you, I've got lots of body-worn camera footage from that night. And so I will prove it to you whether or not that you can hear lots of gunshots. So if he is firing guns, we should hear it on somebody's body camera without question. And if I do, I'll play it and say, well, there you go. There's the sound of gunfire, like they said was happening. But we didn't hear it once during the
discussion. There's another thing with that too, which I thought was a little weird. I mean, I know we're going through more audio and whatever video. In a normal, I say normal, but I would say in a normal, it's not normal, but in a situation like that, where you have some kind of barricaded person whatever, emotionally disturbed or whatever you want to call them, and someone is firing. So you're right. You should hear. You would think that many rounds, you would hear at some point. Maybe a shot here or there. The other thing that you should be hearing some kind of first responder going over the air saying, "Take cover." There are shots fired. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that at all. You would hear it. Doesn't yes, this is a SWAT team. It doesn't matter. It's a SWAT team. They're not indestructible to bullets.
And I will say,
that's a huge red flag to me.
It is a red flag to me, and I'll tell you this: I realize it's a very different scenario, but in 2012, with the shooting of the Aurora, Colorado theater by James Egan Holmes, I remember clearly hearing the police and fire dispatch, and an officer would get on the microphone, and you would hear in the background, boom, 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 boom. You can hear the gun going off. Like, you can hear the shooter still actively shooting while they're called. People are calling in on the phone to 911, and you can hear bam, 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 bam. Like, you can pick up those gunshots on those calls. So why do we hear no gunshots on this dispatch, which kind of bothers me again? But I don't know.
So Viviana Marie said in the chat, I just caught it a little bit ago, that MPD was not on the scene pretty decisively. So I wonder if someone else can.
That's
MPD was on the scene from this moment. Go ahead.
They were. They go jump in.
They were.
Dago's feeding. Yeah, go ahead.
They were definitely on scene. You can actually hear Chief Fry, his voice, go over the radio traffic more than once. They referenced Moscow in the radio traffic many, many times. So yeah, they were definitely on scene there at that point.
Yeah, they were on scene first. I think sorry, not MPD. Pullman was on scene first, but Moscow's talked about on there as well. Yeah. And Dago, I don't know if you're being quiet. Somebody said Dago's not talking. Are we talking over you, buddy, or are you just getting some snack there or what?
No, I'm sucking on a piece of candy. Sorry. I don't want to overstep anybody.
No. I mean, I'm probably talking a bit too much. I mean,
no.
So
the big thing that bothers me about this whole thing with Copaka is, why was if things happened like they say happened, why was the place not evacuated? You have a guy with a gun who could have shot through a floor, shot through walls. You have cops in an apartment setting up like a staging scene where a mother and her son are still there watching all this with the cops in the room in the apartment with them. I mean, why was this? You've got tear gas, you've got everything else that could have gone through the ventilation systems into other apartments, depending on, I don't know what kind of heating is in the building, but if it's all, if there's forced hot air or anything, I mean, just the sheer disregard for the safety of other people in that building and neighboring buildings is just despicable. I mean, that's one of the first things that came to my mind when this whole thing went down is, why would you not do that if things are real?
If I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Dago and 1-1, but if I recall, we all kind of laughed when for quite some time there's, he's fired more shots, he's fired more shots. And at some point after a bunch of shots, they go, we should probably evacuate the building at this point.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like, at this point, after all these gunshots, you maybe we should evacuate the building?
Now, can I ask this question of you guys? 1-1, you might know the answer. Is it possible that MPD wasn't physically at the scene, but because it was a local major event, because you have your different channels, that they were on that channel getting updates?
Here's the thing. I'm watching the chat and I'm reading what you're reading, Joe.
Yeah.
I was told very early on that there were at least three MPD officers on scene. I don't know what FOIA they're reading. I haven't seen it. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've said that before. I swear I hear, for one, I heard first off, I'll finish what I was saying. I was told they were there. There were at least 3: Payne, Fry, and I think it was Blaker.
Blaker, sorry.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I heard very early on in the case about that. Then, as I listened to it before, multiple people said that you can, and it sounded like him to me too. You can hear Fry on the radio traffic. That's 2. And then when we looked into the whole the drone thing, if they used MPD's drones and their drone system, Brett Payne absolutely runs that. I pulled the article and showed it today. So therefore, in terms of the reason, now if for whatever reason I'm wrong, then I'm sorry, I'm wrong. But I'm basing it off of what I was told early on, what I understood, and what I swear I hear today. So I'm just saying. And
no, it's good. Thank you for the clarification. I didn't know.
They do work together on regular basis, is because they share the same 911 center. And I'm sure mutual aid, they're so close that it could be. But I'm just saying that's how it was explained to me. So it is what it is.
I think Payne would be there, absolutely. Knowing now that he was in charge of the drone program for MPD, he definitely would have reason to be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a document that I haven't seen, if anybody has it, show it to me. I'll read it. And like I said, I have no problem being wrong if I am wrong. I'm just repeating what I had learned 3 years ago about that whole scenario. I'm sorry. So,
it was also interesting. We didn't talk about this yet, but Joe probably hasn't heard this. It was interesting that during one point in the dispatch, they said that Brent had apparently started a fire in his room. And then they said the smoke looked like it was going out and he put the fire out or something like that. And I don't remember hearing anything about him starting, because that's the point actually that he decided to talk about evacuating the apartment, was that he was setting his apartment on fire. And they were like, maybe we should get everybody out of the apartment because he's setting the apartment on fire. And then they're like, well, it looks like the smoke's dissipating or whatever. So he must have put it out. I thought that was a weird exchange in that whole thing as well. But
absolutely.
And
yeah, I missed that part.
I was just wanted to jump in too. Obviously, we have to go by the documents and the stuff that we get.
Sure.
But remember, there are a lot of inconsistencies too. Let me just remind you about the coroner, right? If you want to go by what the coroner said and the statement and their official thing, that the coroner got on scene at 5 p.m. and we know that's not true. The coroner was there at 12 o'clock or 12:30, whatever it was. So.
Lucy, is there a document that I don't have that I don't know about, that I haven't read or something in regard to this? Because
if we're wrong, show it. Right.
If I am wrong, I want to
show us the document.
I want to be
absolutely
on it. So show me the document, please. If there's one.
It is some, I mean, I'm not trying to attack anybody, but it is sometimes frustrating when people say, well, read the documents, like to challenge what we're saying. Well, if you've got something, trust me, everybody on this panel reads documents. We're reading documents all the time. We're breaking down documents. We're talking about them. So just dropping, and again, don't take it the wrong way. I'm not attacking you, but anybody that does the whole, well, read the documents, you're not saying anything. We do read the documents. If you've got something that we're missing, point it out to us. Tell us what page, what document. We'll read it online. We'll read it in front of everybody. But just giving a read the documents or watch the body cams, we are watching them. So if you're making a point, you got to make that point clear.
I definitely don't want to put out any more misinformation than there needs to be put out there. I definitely want to know the fact if it's there. So
yeah,
if there is one and I don't have it, I haven't seen it, and you have the ability, please send it. I definitely want to read it.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to you guys today for as long as I could. So I listened for a while, but I missed a lot when you guys were going over that stuff. Fuck, guys, this case, man.
I know.
I've never been so mentally exhausted from such a crazy. Could be because I get it. The Copaka thing. We can't prove the connections at this point, or any connections. But man, there's just so many things, and I don't. People that question, I've posted things, I've seen comments, I read the comments. You can't ignore all of the horse shit that we've been fed about this case. If that doesn't make people suspicious and of the mainstream narrative that we're getting and the official narratives. I just don't know what to say. I've never seen anything like this.
By the way, yeah, no, I haven't either. By the way, I have half a mind, and I know that people have to sleep, but I apparently don't sleep on normal schedule. I have half a mind after this to go ahead and start doing some member only lives and getting right into some of those body worn camera footage, because I'm dying to see what we do see and if we hear those gunshots. I will tell you this. I went to one of the they had sent me some files that were corrupted, and I will say, to their benefit, I emailed Pullman Police and said, hey, look, 3 of the files that are kind of important to me seem to be corrupted. Can you resend? And they did. They resent it in a different way, all the files in a different way that I can download individually. And it was actually better what they gave me, because they actually gave me an index with the actual order of the files. Because the way they gave it to me originally was just a big, huge zip container with everything jumbled together. They actually gave me an index that had all the files that I can download one by one. And the files appear to be good now, which is great. So kudos on Pullman Police for offering that. But I was disappointed, and also like, oh shit, I got to go watch these now, because here's what I saw. At one of the late videos that I thought, well, maybe this will be the video of when they shot Copaka. It was apparently after he'd already been deceased when the camera comes on. They redacted it all with black screen, so you don't get to see shit, which I don't fucking, I fundamentally don't understand what we have the whole secrecy about. We're asking for body worn cameras so we can see it ourselves, and they blacked the entire screen. It just says redacted across the screen. So you get to hear their audio. What was interesting to me is you hear really loud 3 bangs that sound like gunshots, bam, bam, bam. And then they say breach, breach, which I thought was weird, because we already know they had keys to the apartment and they had a door code to the apartment, and they had the door open multiple times. All I can imagine is they breached his bedroom door and maybe had to break it open, kind of thing. But the fact that you heard so loudly what sounded like gunshots, maybe it wasn't gunshots, maybe it was them breaking the door down. Whatever the case is, I thought, oh, well, if you can hear shots that clearly on the body worn camera, then we should be able to hear all this gunfire they're saying that Copaka is doing. So now I'm doubly interested to listen to body worn cameras and hear Copaka firing at people in the parking lot, if that's what is going on. So.
And I definitely got the impression I know they truncated the time, but I definitely think that the gas definitely triggered an episode and made the situation worse.
I mean, and I know it's pure speculation, so let's be careful.
Right.
The question is, and it could be rhetorical. You don't have to answer. The question is, was that just a bad choice, a rookie mistake to tear gas the thing without factoring in how that might trigger somebody with PTSD? Or was it purposeful because they wanted to agitate him? You don't have to answer that, because that's pure speculation. But that's the question that goes through my mind. Was that just like we all said, oh, that's a bad idea to tear gas a guy that has PTSD. You got him cornered in a room, and you're going to gas him now? Like, this is going to go badly. We all knew that without having to be an expert. How did they not know that? Was it just a mistake, poor choice, or did they try to rattle him into a standoff? I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, like I said, we can all remain quiet. We don't have to answer that. It's a speculative question, but I just have to ask that. So we're 2 hours in. I will say, like I said, when we did that. So here's the thing. I got a quandary. I need your guys'. In fact, I'm going to do do I do it as a poll? I said I was going to do a poll at some point. I don't know if we're going to do this a poll or not. What I want to know is this. I've got like 50 gigabytes of body worn camera footage, screenshots, dispatch traffic, radio traffic, and that takes time to go through. On the one hand, I don't want to be the gatekeeper of all the information I got and say nobody can listen or see this information until I've seen it first, because I paid for it and I got the receipts and I did the work. I don't want to be that guy. By the same token, I don't want to be behind as everybody's digging into it. I don't know whether, and again, I don't know what's on there. I already will tell you. One thing that I was worried about was during the interview with one of the roommates, he literally tells them about his mental health conditions and the medications that he's taking by name of the drug. That could be considered HIPAA information, right? What medications he's taking is none of our business. And they didn't redact that out. So the part of me says, it would be irresponsible for me to unleash that on the public and say, here, everybody, have these files, when it could have HIPAA related information. It could have something that should have been redacted and wasn't. Sure, I can stand behind it's not my fault. You're the one that released it to me, but I've got all these quandaries. How should I be handling these guys? How should I be handling the data dump that I have? Should I be making it available for everybody, or doing it myself and only making it available as I've vetted it? What? Like, I don't know.
The only thing I see being even a plausible problem was what you just said with the possible HIPAA violation, maybe, but I don't think it would be, because it's not like it may state a medication, but it doesn't say what it's for per se, like whatever the medical problem could be. So it could be for multiple things. There's no proof that it's real, truly what you take. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that. So that's the only thing I see being like an issue, in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it's whatever I think you're more comfortable putting out or not putting out per se, based on what you have. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. And I don't know if I have the cloud storage for it, but here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Because I would rather have people like you dividing up the files and divide and conquer. Have you watch body-worn camera footage and me watch some and whatever, and go, oh my God, you need to watch this numbered file at such and such time, because it's a lot of hours of watching. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
And Taylor was saying just on the Idaho thing, I've got terabytes and terabytes of data that it's going to take us forever to go through all the discovery. How am I supposed to do this? We'd have to have a full team of people. I can't do it by myself. I'm one guy, right?
Right.
I'm kind of thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to host it on a shared drive with limited access people that can help me dive through this, not making it available to the entire public, but maybe to a select number of some researchers and whatever, so I can get some help. So like basically meeting you halfway. Like I'll make the files available to more people, but not the whole general public. And then as we're working together and sharing information, we can come out to it together. But in addition, I think I'm going to go ahead and do some just live, raw, members only recordings. And if it turns out to be exciting like it was today, maybe I'll post the members only video as a public facing video. But I'd like to continue to work through that list. Like I want to see it myself, because again, I don't want to rely on people telling me what is there. I want to see it for myself, and I like to really form my own opinion. I'd rather see it personally the first time myself before I'm told how I'm supposed to feel about it, because that's just the way I work. But
you guys should decide. You know, you guys are the much more experienced with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna for a minimum, I'll tell you this, at a minimum, I'm going to make that file dump available, of course, to 1-1 and Robin and Dago and you, Joe. At a minimum, our advocates team is going to have access to all those files so that you guys can start working on it. I guess I would ask, maybe Dago not to necessarily go live with files right away, but I don't think he would. Like, I don't even have to tell Dago that. I already know your character. I've seen you work already, and you don't work that way. So I think I'll make it available for all of us, for a research team to kind of work together and say, holy shit, because you guys know me enough now that you'll know what I'm going to find interesting, what I'm not going to find interesting. So I think I'll make those things available for our team right now. In addition, I'll continue to do members only lives where I watch it live with everybody, invite you all to come watch it live. We'll do it live. But that's the way I think we'll handle it.
If I can, real quick, I just want to read something to you. Hold on 1 minute here. Where does it start? Common exceptions in HIPAA allows disclosure without authorization for law enforcement investigations, coroners and medical examiners, public health activities, judicial proceedings with proper legal process. Excuse me. This is why autopsy findings or cause of death may be released publicly, even though full medical records are not. And what HIPAA does not protect is information not held by a covered entity, rumors, social media posts, police reports, cause and manner of death as determined by a coroner or medical examiner, and information released by the family themselves. The bottom line to that entire thing is that HIPAA protections continue for 50 years after death, and access is limited but not absolute. Law enforcement and death investigations are major exceptions. So there you go.
So law enforcement has an exception to the HIPAA violation because so the question becomes can we true crimers show stuff that law enforcement has turned over to the public on public? That's the key thing. Like, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how to interpret that.
I think if they have turned it over,
yeah,
there in turn, it should be void of issue.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I would logically say if there was a mistake to be made, then it's on them for releasing it to the public in that format. So what we do with it at that point is on them because they're the ones that released it, and if they had the obligation to hide
And
the
it's listed, yeah, and it's listed
Right. And
if
it
a law enforcement investigation is where it's brought about, so that should be, you know, open season on that per se.
right. And
Yeah.
it's not like he's sitting there giving dosages, doctors' names. It's not like he's doing like a real in-depth
Yeah.
like medical history kind of thing. He's
Right.
just giving a general, this is, you know.
Yeah,
So
and to be honest with you, being that one's sitting here, we do have a law enforcement official available with us. So
there we go.
I have
Not
a
in charge
question.
of this. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had a question for you, Dago. Are you going to CrimeCon?
I don't even know. I've talked about it already twice. Depends on what my wife is doing for. She has to have vacation time and stuff because if we go, I'm not going by myself. She'll be going with me. I'd like to. I definitely would like to. I missed it last time I wanted to go, so I'd really like to. So we'll see.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I for sure, along with the She-Devil next door, are going to CrimeCon Las Vegas this year in May. It's at the Caesars Palace in Vegas, and we've already got our tickets.
Another reason why I want to go is because it's in Vegas this year. I thought that'd be a hell of a trip.
Yeah, because it gives you other stuff to do when you're not in the CrimeCon community. So anyway, so with that in mind, I would love, now that we're a little bigger channel and people know who we are, please, by all means, consider coming to Vegas and hanging out. Even if you don't go to, because CrimeCon's expensive. And I will say this, CrimeCon is pretty pro law enforcement, and there's nothing wrong with pro law enforcement. I'm even pro law enforcement, despite how much I bust their nuts sometimes. I just don't like bad policing, right? But I don't have any problems with cops. I think cops are necessary. I think law is necessary. So, but anyways, what I'm saying is, CrimeCon is a lot of here's how we caught the bad guys, not a whole lot of presumption of innocence. They usually clap and cheer when you caught the bad guy. There's not really any questioning whether they got the right guy. So it's if you're into that kind of thing, it might not be your cup of tea that you don't want to spend a lot of money on. But Vegas has got other things to do. So come hang out with us in Vegas, baby. And we'll meet up after CrimeCon things. If you go to CrimeCon sessions, maybe we'll sit together in the CrimeCon session and talk about it. We'll have some drinks. We'll get a little crazy. Shit. Ron and I will have a room, so you can come hang out in our room.
Right.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of people offer, to hang out with me there as well. And so, I mean, we could have a group of us that are there if it works out. So.
For sure. And we could probably get a little room if there's enough of us that, if there's 20 of us that get together, we could probably find a little place to go have a group room or huddle room or, dinner or something like that. So looks like you've got people in here who have a ticket to CrimeCon. So I will try to find a way on the website of our website, devilsadvocates.info, to coordinate people meeting up in Vegas so that we don't go there and not meet each other when we were all there at the same time. So I want to make it obvious how we can meet up if you guys want to go. And I think, Joe, you are going, right? Or at least you're certainly thinking
I'm
it.
planning to go. It's a good time of the year for me because it's off season and I could take time off and whatnot.
Yeah. So I'm kind of expecting you to be there at some point. Bertie and his wife were thinking about going, but they don't talk about it a lot lately. So I don't know if they're going or not, but again, there's still months to prepare, but tickets go fast. If you want the premium tickets, which are really freaking expensive, they go first, I think. So general admission tickets might be there, but they have a gold level and a platinum level tickets, which get you closer and closer to the stage and get you to some of the elbow bumping with Brian Enton if you want to meet him, or Nancy Grace or whatever. So if you buy those tickets, you can do that. Ron and I'll admit, Ron and I spent a little bit extra so that we can go bump elbows so I can shake Anton's hand and say, hey, I've emailed you like 4 times, dude. Why are you ignoring me? I'm probably not going to do that.
I would be afraid to interact with any of them, to be honest, them specific ones, because I don't know what I'd say.
Yeah.
When
I have no interest in the mainstream people, but I know we talked about doing our own little meetup. Yeah. Remember we had discussed like maybe getting a restaurant and reserving a section, or doing a thing where we can all get together and do our own little mini thing, which would obviously require more legwork and organization.
Yeah, and when I was at CrimeCon, the first day, the early registration day, they opened up like a half day before the actual main registration for early registration, and I was seeing all the TV personalities there. I saw Enton there. I saw Vinnie Politan from Court TV. I was within feet with a bunch of celebrity type TV folks that are mainstream things. They were all there, kind of in their scrubbies, civilian clothes, early check-in kind of thing. So it was kind of cool seeing that. But of course, none of them know who the hell I am. So it is what it is. But yeah, so come to CrimeCon this year and hang out and let's try to meet up after the show, which would be fun. I'd love that. I would love it because I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of money this year and go to show. I usually, when I'm in Vegas, I go to shows and watch Cirque du Soleil shows and stuff like that. But I don't think I'm going to do that this time. I'd rather hang out with you guys. So if you guys want to come in there, make sure you do that. All right, Let's wrap it up, guys. Let's go around the horn. Dago, JJ, 1-1, Robin, all close. After we're done, I'm going to take a little break, and I think I'll go ahead and fire up a Members Only Live and do a breakdown of some of the body-worn camera footage. And if you guys want to join me for that, you can. If you don't, that's fine as well. I realize it's getting late around the country. So, Dago, you were kind of quiet, and I hope that I didn't do that to you, because I know when I started the show behind scenes, I said, let's all be careful not to walk all over today because we're each other, and I wasn't directing that at you, because of course I just meant all of us are so excited we're gonna talk all over each other, and so hopefully you weren't too quiet because Lee told me I got to keep my mouth shut. That wasn't what that was intended. But what do you got to say on the way out? Take a lot of time.
Not a whole lot. No, it wasn't because of you. I know I was apologizing yesterday because I was talking a lot. I was wired yesterday. And there was a lot to talk about today, but you guys were covering it all. Anything to add to it was already said. So I was just listening very intently, listening and watching chat and all this kind of stuff. So well, I definitely want to make sure you have space, because you got a lot of your people watching us as well, and I don't want you to ever feel like you don't have space to talk on this show. So hopefully it wasn't anything like that. No worries with that. No, by no means. Because believe me, I'm a big mouth. I would have stepped in if I really wanted to and spoke up. But no, it was perfectly fine. No worries whatsoever about that.
Well, thanks again for joining us on panel. Also, thanks for that amazing 3 hours of live that we did today. And again, if you happen to be a late nighter, maybe you can join me again later tonight, and which won't be long. Like, I'm going to shut down, take a short break, and I'll be back within 20-30 minutes at best, probably 20 minutes.
As long as I don't fall asleep, I'll be here.
All right, JJ, what do you got for closing tonight?
Oh man, well, thank you again, guys, and thank you to everybody in the den and Dago's crew. I did start watching Soaked in Bleach again, and because it's been a while since I watched it. I had to search for it. It wasn't on Amazon. It wasn't on Apple TV. It wasn't on Hulu. It wasn't on Netflix.
You gotta pay for it now. Yeah.
But YouTube, for which I have a paid subscription, has versions of it. Some of them have like German subtitles and stuff. So I started rewatching that and also digging into some of the darker corners of the case on Reddit to prepare for Sunday. So it's kind of crazy to be opening up that book again. But it's very interesting, and anybody who had followed that case should definitely check in on Sunday, because you guys are all into it too, and I was like, oh, sweet, that's it.
It's definitely an interesting case, and there's a lot of new stuff tailing off the back end of it that I was surprised to find out, thanks to 1-1. That really kind of like completely turned me in a different direction with it. So I'm looking forward to learning that stuff, and some other things that there's so much to it. There's a couple things I know I didn't touch on. I didn't get a chance to. But it's going to be fun, I think. It's very interesting for anybody that has not looked into it. I think you're going to be impressed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, I just think I really do feel like DA is digging into some things that with, like what you guys did today with Dago and DA, and what 1-1 has been talking about, because I get the messages on Discord. 1-1 and I go back and forth about stuff. But anyway, you guys are all killing it, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you're a very important part of the show, so we appreciate you as well. So thank you very much for that. And what do you got for? Are you really a cop, man? Are
I
you
think
really a
so.
cop? One man, you get to talk away out.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here. Great panel, great discussion as always. Um, Thanks for leading us, Lee. The live earlier was great. I will try to jump on when you're doing those audio analysis and the further stuff with Copaka. Super interesting. We see like as more days and days go by, more layers of the onion get unpeeled. I do think hopefully maybe eventually there'll be some kind of whistleblower. I think I do believe JJ was on the ball with that. I think if we do get some kind of whistleblower, it will make a big change in this case. So thanks to Dago and thanks to the True Crime Cafe friends and meatballs and all you guys over there. We have a great like partnership going on here. I love hanging out over there. Although today I felt like counting paint chips on the ceiling, watching that interview, but
I felt like I would have rather eaten paint chips.
Oh yeah, it was, but all good stuff. We have to we got to see all these interviews, and that's how we get to the finish line, hopefully. So make sure you remember to subscribe. Also, thanks to Robin, definitely for helping to organize everything and. Keep Lee is going a million miles an hour making all these videos and this great content. Robin kind of keeps us in check, so thanks.
I have to, it's hilarious. Robin's waiting for her clothes. She's waiting for the clothes, and I have to tell this story because of this $5 super chat, Russ Davis story. Oh my God, I got some Russ Davis stories. This is hilarious. Yes, I know Russ Davis. Oh my God, this has nothing to do with true crime, so apologize. But listen, a friend of mine and I used to watch a lot of Mariner games. Russ Davis, if I remember right, Russ Davis played like third base for the Mariners back in the day. And for a while, he was horrible with defense. Like things would get hit to him, and he would just miss an easy snag. And we were getting pissed off. Like, what the fuck with Russ Davis? Like, why the fuck can't you field a ball? So we were getting pissed at Russ Davis, me and my friend. And one night we're watching the game, and fucking he like bumbles something right over, and so he gets moved. Russ Davis gets moved out to like left field, where they put guys that can't actually are in defense. Stick him in left field. They'll never go to left field, right? So my friend leaves and he's like, fuck Russ Davis. I'm getting tired of Russ Davis. He gets in the car and he's leaving. Next play. High fly ball to left field to Russ Davis, and he fucking dropped the ball. My friend flipped the ball outside. He fucking dropped the ball. I held the ball. Anyways, that's my Russ Davis story. We lost our shit. They moved him out to left field, and he still dropped the ball. But yeah, it's hilarious. No disrespect to Russ Davis. It's funny shit watching Russ Davis play. But and oh yeah, one more story, super quick. We were at a dinner with a bunch of Mariner players. That was just kind of like one of these, hey, get meet and greet, and we got to sit next to the third base coach. So we started shitting on Russ Davis, and we're like, hey, what do you do for the Mariners? Oh, I'm third base coach. I'm like, oh shit, like we're shitting on Russ Davis. Anyways, yeah. All right, Robin. Shit, that had nothing to do with true crime. How you doing? You got to close for the day?
It just, you guys are just all amazing. Like the panel. I mean, Dago's crew, the Den. I mean, I just loved. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there today because I have this stupid thing called a job. But it's so cool. Was after work we were watching the live from today, and I just love seeing everyone in the chat. So even during the day, we have people who are tuning in to these member only lives, or whatever. So you guys had to come out for all of this. The replay crew, you guys are just amazing. The fuckery continues, the douchebaggery continues, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping. So yeah, but thank you guys for all tuning in, being on this panel with all you guys. Lee, thank you for that opportunity to be here. So yeah, so it's just and we're just gonna keep pressing on.
I saw more than one person say in the members only live, this is great. I love spending. I'm at work. I got headphones on and I get to listen to you guys while I'm at work. And I'm like, oh, the boss is going to get pictures. Sitting there listening to the True Crime Cube. That we got to share people's work day with them today as they just listened to us break down, police dispatch audios. So it was very cool to do that kind of thing.
Well, so and you know what too? It gave our international audience a chance to hang out with us. Outside of like 3 a.m. for them. So because I think Cat Farm said that earlier today. She was like, I got to hang out with you guys, and I don't normally get a chance. And so it was really cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, so there's nothing wrong with, and it's members only content. So that gives you an incentive to spend the whole whopping $2.99 to become a member. And if you want some members only content, and again, some of the juicier tidbits we'll splice out and talk about on the lives at night like this for the public, so you don't miss it. But if you want that raw reaction, raw hangout with the team, members only is a great way to do that. So again, I'm going to close down now and say good night. I'm going to take about maybe a 15-20 minute break, and then I'll fire up a schedule of members only live, and hopefully Dago and 1-1 and whoever, Robin, JJ, if you have time. I know it's getting later for everybody, especially on the East Coast, but anyone who wants to come in, I just want to keep at it because I got so much work to do that since I have some energy, I'm just going to do it. And so, yeah, there we are. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for coming. It was a great show again, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.